Hey, how's it going? Today I'm talking about degenerative tears versus acute tears for the meniscus. This is Running to the Castle, a podcast for injury-prone RunDisney runners on a journey to running magical miles. Join me, Dr. Allie, as I share the secrets I've gathered as a runner, doctor of physical therapy, and coach. You'll learn the exact ways I get my clients to the castle strong without feeling broken or held together with KT tape as they cross the finish line. Okay, so I've been talking a lot about the meniscus, and I got this question on Instagram about talking about degenerative tears versus acute tears and the differences in where you have the pain for each of those. So I'm going to start off by talking about acute tears. So acute means new. Just happened within the past couple of weeks. This is a brand new, fresh tear. So typically, these tears have swelling, pain, usually warm to the touch, usually has some kind of popping sensation, or you may even be able to hear it pop when you bend and straighten your knee, and you may feel like your knee is going to give way when you're walking around. So those are typical feelings of a new meniscus tear. Now you can also have catching or locking. So that's when, if you have a bucket handle tear, when you go from a bent knee to a straight knee, it catches that tear, that bucket handle tear catches on your bones and your knee gets stuck. It can't go any straighter than where you're at. And you actually need to manipulate the knee to make it be able to straighten more. So acute tears typically happen from a plant and twist, a compression and a shear force. So you could be stepping off the curb, step weird, step wrong. You could miss a step at the end of your staircase, step weird, step wrong. You could be distracted and you can plant and somebody's calling you from behind and you turn around and it's that compression and shear force from the twist. So that's acute tears. The pain for acute tears typically sticks just in the knee. It could go down the shin a little bit, and that can happen just because of how much swelling is there. It has activated the nerve fibers that go into your shin, so then you can feel that pain going down into your shin. Typically, you don't feel it in your thigh or your hip or all the way down into your ankle. Those are acute tears. Degenerative tears. So degenerative meniscus tears happen over time. This can happen for somebody who has a job that has repetitive motions, or they have to stay in a squat for an extended period of time, or they're crawling on their hands and knees excessively. So think about somebody who has to install flooring where they're constantly crawling on their hands and knees. They're probably in a crouched position for an extended period of time. Or somebody who has to, over time, over and over and over again, go up and down a ladder, go up and down a staircase. Think things like firefighters, because they're up and down on the ladder, up and down staircases, especially they have all of that extra gear, putting even more pressure on their body. These are just examples. There are definitely more examples out there. But a degenerative tear can also happen just in the everyday population, just from normal wear and tear. So a degenerative meniscus tear is also a type of arthritis, where arthritis is a degeneration in the cartilage of your joints. So in your knee, you have two different types of cartilage. You have meniscus, which is a type of cartilage, but you also have another layer of cartilage that goes on your bones. You have those in all of your synovial joints. And so when you have wear and tear, that's degeneration. Arthritis is degeneration, and degenerative meniscus tears are also degeneration. It's right there in the name. So it's a normal part of aging. Somewhere, someone said this. I wish I could say who this quote was from, but I don't remember. If you happen to know, please let me know. But somebody said, degeneration or arthritis are wrinkles on the inside. As we get older, we get wrinkles in our skin. It's a normal part of aging. We also get wrinkles on the inside. We get arthritis on the inside. So nobody can avoid degeneration. And the degeneration itself is not the painful problem until it gets to grade 4 degeneration. Then it actually is the problem. That is an extreme case. Not everybody has grade 4. You can have very mild, very minor degeneration and be in the 1 range. Then there's 2, 3, and then finally 4. So in the 1, 2, and 3 range of degeneration, it's not the degeneration itself that causes the pain. It's how irritated the cartilage and the joint itself are that cause the pain, because you haven't degenerated the cartilage enough to hit the nerve fibers of the bone. That's what happens with grade 4, where you've actually degenerated that cartilage so much that now the nerve fibers in your bone are activated, and it's a lot of pain. So that's why you could hear somebody, maybe a friend, who says, "Oh yeah, I've grade 3 degeneration in my knee," and they seemingly have no pain, no problem. Yet you are over here with grade 1 degeneration in your meniscus or other cartilage in your knee, and you can't put any pressure on your knee because it hurts so much. That's because the grade 1 example here is a more irritated knee. Everything's kind of fresh and new. Think a rug burn where, oof, that hurts when you first have it happen. The rug burn itself isn't actually that big of a problem, but it's how fresh and new it is that's why it causes so much pain. Whereas grade 3, the person may have been able to, or has had this going on for so long that they know how to manage their symptoms. They're using ice and heat regularly, so they don't have too many painful symptoms. So the amount of degeneration itself does not always correlate with how much pain you're in. So you could also go to the doctor, get an x-ray or get an MRI, and they're like, "Oh my God, these are the worst knees I've ever seen." And you're like, "Well, that's really doesn't even feel that bad." Or you're in a lot of pain and they say, "Well, your arthritis isn't that bad, so it's not causing your pain." Well, it's not directly causing your pain, but indirectly it is, because it's irritated. The joint is irritated. You did something that irritated the degeneration to cause some inflammation in the area, which then caused some pain. So going along with this question, sometimes when you have degeneration, the degenerative tears, you can also have pain in other areas. So is that caused by the degenerated meniscus itself? No. Indirectly, it's caused by the fact that you have a degenerated meniscus. So that's because we get into these compensation patterns to avoid the painful thing. So you could alter your gait pattern. You could be overstriding or understriding, so changing how far you're stepping, like how big of a step you're taking. And so then that changes where the pressure point on your foot and your ankle are when you first take a step and when you push off. As an example, it can change how stretched out your hamstring is when you take that long or do not take a long step. The longer the step, the more stretched out your hamstring's going to be. The shorter the step, the less stretched out your hamstring's going to be. If you overly stretch out your hamstrings or repeatedly put pressure on the hamstring, it can then cause problems at your pelvis and your spine and your hip. If you are walking with a limp because of this painful knee, it's going to change your gait pattern in a lateral aspect, in a side-to-side aspect, which then puts differing different pressure on your hip, which can then cause low back problems, pelvis problems, hip problems. It can lead to IT band problems. So then now you're getting pain along the length of your outer thigh because you have changed how you're walking to accommodate that painful knee, because now you're limping. And so then you get this weakness in your glutes because your glutes don't have to activate as much because of this new gait pattern, which then changes the and this changed gait pattern changes the amount of stretch or pressure going through the IT band, so then that can get irritated. So you can get all of these different compensations going, which can cause pains in so many different places because you've been walking funny for so long because of this problem that's been going on and on and on. And the degenerative tears, they can cause flare-ups off and on. So you could have no pain most of the time in the beginning, and then just every once in a while sporadically you can be having this pain, and you subconsciously, you don't even know you're doing it, start changing your gait pattern. So now you're walking differently without even knowing it, and that over time can cause weaknesses in certain muscles, overstretching of certain muscles, and cause these compensatory problems. If you're planning to run a Run Disney race next year and you're injury prone and you want to cross the finish line next year, I invite you to join the interest list for Finish Line Academy. This is the only online group coaching program designed specifically for injury prone Run Disney runners by a physical therapist. As always, thanks so much for listening. That's all for now. Talk to you soon.